Aaron, your opponent is Jason Geary. What decisions has he made that concern you?
I'd say one of the big ones I hear the most talking to people in Sioux City is the Dr. John's issue. Although I would agree with Jason Geary that that kind of business seems out of place in Singing Hills, a real family-friendly area, I don't think that you should take taxpayers' dollars to fight your own convictions. And what I mean by that is the city had actually given a building permit to a business to build a building and then tried to force them not to be able to open their doors, which is why the lawsuit came about. And I think that, that's ethically wrong too. You can't allow a business to build property and then not let them be a business. And I think that Sioux City needed to investigate that particular situation a lot more before granting that building permit. So it was a mistake that was made early on, but solving that situation is not allowing them to open. And the biggest problem I have is entering into that lawsuit cost Sioux City $600,000, but after it cost us that much money, and it was a lose-lose situation, Jason wanted to continue the fight, which, talking to other attorneys, going to district court and then possibly to the Iowa Supreme Court would ultimately cost Sioux City millions of dollars. And it'd be a lot bigger issue than the $600,000 that it already cost us. So that's a great example of an area that you really need to tread carefully and not enter in with taxpayer dollars to fight a fight that just is a no-win situation.
Any other areas concern you?
Yes. His first campaign, he talked about holding the line on property tax. His current campaign, he's talking about the same thing, and I feel like he's trying to have it both ways. What I mean by that is the last 3 years in a row, he has voted for a higher operating budget, which is increased by an average of 8% each year and has since '99. And he's not voting against those higher operating budgets, which affect the tax levy, which affects you and I's property taxes. And I think that you can't have it both ways. You can't continue to say, I'm going to hold the line on property taxes, which to me it means I'm not going to let it go past this point, and then each year vote for a higher operating budget, which makes a higher tax levy on a yearly basis. And I just think that's wrong. The second issue that I've looked at that I lobbied against was he wanted to expand the reasons for electronic voting. And what that is currently we have a policy in place that if you're physically injured, you can call in your vote for city council. They can't even do that on the Senate or the state floor. So it's something I think that we should look at. But he wanted to expand those rights. So if you're on vacation, if you're visiting another community, you can call in your vote. And I think that you need to have honest conversation with not only the people that come to talk to you from Sioux City, but also your peers about important decisions that are going to affect the city as a whole versus being on the phone, which I think is a lot different than being there in person.
What should the city do about the odor that you often smell as you enter the city?
Well, new technology has really helped. City has adapted a liquid form that they've put in the sewage plant that has greatly reduced the smell factor when you go through that area. The other smell, of course, would be John Morrell as you go through into downtown. And with the I-29 project, I think that we need to continue to focus on working with the heads of John Morrell without sacrificing those jobs, discouraging them from being in Sioux City. Those jobs are very important to Sioux City. But there is technology out there. If they don't want to relocate, I think that we need to look at other options of what we can do to reduce that smell. It's not an easy answer. There's a lot of things that have been looked into, but there's been no clear-cut solution. But I think that we need to continue to look for that solution.
What can the city do about our high property taxes here?
I think one of the major things is looking at reducing some of the costs that we have with the consulting fees that aren't always necessary, as well as some of the subsidized programs that we have that continue to take us down to a negative factor. The convention center, for example, is always at $600,000 loss, and even the Longline Center at over $290,000 deficit on a yearly basis. Those are just examples of a lot of different subsidies that we do within Sioux City that we need to either promote those programs more or look for ways to where we don't lose so much money in those areas. And obviously, our main job in Sioux City is protecting the citizens, having a good police and fire department. The other areas, of course, there's a lot of fat that I think that we could trim out.
How will citywide urban revitalization affect Sioux City?
I believe it's crucial, especially with companies like Hyperion talking about coming to town. We want to have incentives for people to move here in Sioux City. We want to broaden our tax base. And the way to do that, of course, urban revitalization It gives people an opportunity to build homes here and only pay on the property tax for a certain amount of time and get reductions in their property tax. It also gives people a chance to move into a home that maybe needs some work and be able to do at least a 5% increase of value on that home and not have to pay the increased property tax for a period of time. So it's been very successful in where it's been done in the past. The last 15 years it's been done in Des Moines. It has really widened their tax base and really helped their property tax as a whole.
Aaron, why should people vote for you for City Council?
I believe people should vote for me because my concerns are the concerns of most people in Sioux City that I've spoken to. And I believe that we need to continue to keep open communications with businesses in Sioux City and find out what we need to do as a city council to help them expand and flourish. Statistics show that over 85% of growth in a city is from within, not from without. So although it's good to bring in new jobs, it's also very important to focus on the people that are already here paying taxes and finding out what we can do to help them grow and expand. The other thing, of course, too, is we talked earlier about infrastructure. I think it's very important to put together new policies so that we can replace more of our roadways and more of our water lines in a quicker manner and more efficient manner. Obviously, I think lobbying is important. I think that we have a state dinner and Chamber of Commerce has an event with the representatives. I think that's great. But I think that we need to have people on the council that have ongoing relationships and continue to talk about the issues in the areas where we need help to compete with our neighbors. I think that Sioux City as a whole is a great place to live, a great place to raise a family. I love Sioux City. I've lived here my entire life, and I think that I would do a great job in regards to helping Sioux City move forward in a positive way.